Cheryl once again with heArt Studios. I have Morgan Factory behind me along with the founder Morgan. And so we are so excited to jump into our interview. But first, for those of you that are joining us, just a quick rundown. We are actually doing interviews of artists from all over the country of all different genres, interviewing them about how art has made a difference in their own lives and how they've used it to change the world around them and their communities. So it's been really exciting to get to know these artists. And once you guys hear Morgan's story, I mean, I have nothing but amazement and admiration for this woman right here, you guys. You're gonna fall in love with her, I promise. But for those of you that are joining us that don't know what heArt Studios is, we are a new nonprofit right here in Nashville that is aimed at helping teens recover from difficult life situations. It could be as light as bullying at school or as heavy as domestic abuse and everything in between. So our goal is to get these teens into a studio with a wide variety of the arts. Give them a chance, a safe place to heal from these experiences and process through what's been going on in their lives. And then also bring in artists to train them and give them tools that they can use for their futures. We also are a studio to use for local rentals. If you are here in Nashville, we invite you to come on down and use our rental if you're professional. We also rent out that way as well. So without further ado, let's jump in. I am dying to introduce you guys to Morgan. She's a friend of mine. I've shot with her quite a few times. In fact, these incredible bell bottoms are my favorite on the planet that I'm wearing today. I actually bought from her last year. You guys, these are so cute. Check these out. I mean, you're not going to find cuter bell bottoms out there, and they're so comfortable. So when Amanda, the director of heArt Studios, was asking me, do I know a designer who is incredibly talented? And, you know, her work is all over the country, you guys. It is not hard to find her work. But secondly, someone who has a deep heart and loves giving back to this world, making it a better place. Instantly, my mind went straight to Morgan. So I'm really honored to be able to spend this time with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
So let's jump in. I think the whole audience wants to know, who is Morgan behind the Morgan Factory?
My name is Morgan. I'm 30 years old. I've been running the Morgan Factory for a full-time business for, I think this is my 5th year. So that's pretty awesome, being fairly young.
and you guys, she's literally all over the country. Her work
I'm global.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. I'm incredibly proud of you.
And we have big plans this year of going even further. So I just got a new puppy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So my time is consumed with him and the Morgan Factory.
So tell us, how did you even get started? I mean, a lot of people out there, when they see how successful you are, let's say they aspire to be someone like you, they want to know, how did you get started? I mean, even in general with art, a while back.
I get that question asked all the time. How did you start? It's literally, I was born to do it. I feel that way. It's in my blood. I created the name The Morgan Factory when I was 6 or 7 years old. I wrote it on the back of a greeting card, just like Hallmark. I was like, I'm gonna be bigger than Hallmark one day. And I created my logo and didn't even know it.
At 6 years old?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that's incredible.
My parents, they kept the card, and then like one year for Christmas, my father made me a stamp that said The Morgan Factory, which it looks just like that. So now I could stamp everything I made.
I love it.
And he would hold me accountable because it wasn't just sewing that I did. I would make wind chimes. I mean, anything. You know, I'm always been creative. But he'd be like, did you stamp it? Did you stamp it? So that is how the Morgan Factory started. I've always sewn. I upcycled my senior prom dress, but I never thought that it would be my career. I never thought that it would be my life. I never thought, oh, I can make money doing this and like pay my bills and afford insurance and take care of myself. But when I was in college, I started selling kids' clothes. That was very easy for me to do. Kids' clothes are fun. You can mix and match prints, and I mean, what little girl doesn't look cute in you know, some Mod Podge
But your colors.
clothes.
I mean, you guys gotta check out her colors. Her designs are so unique and so bright and so happy. So I can definitely see.
And they're getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
But one day I was like, I don't want to do this for kids. I want to do this for women. I want to make women feel just as good as these little kids feel. So one day I went home to see my family over like a Christmas break, and somebody had given me a bunch of clothes. People give me things. It's just like I attract. They're like, Morgan, I saved this for you. I want you to have it, and which is awesome. Very appreciative of all of it. But I cut up those clothes. I made like 20 tunics that day in one
20?
day. In one day.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I made 20 in one day, and then the next weekend I set up at my very first craft show, and I sold all of them.
That does not surprise me a bit.
I sold all of them, and I was like over the moon.
And that was the start. That
And
was your start.
I was like, okay. I was like, maybe I'm gonna make 40 more now. I'm gonna take all this money that I just made and put it back into the business, and like maybe I can do this.
And here you are today.
And here I am.
All over boutiques, stores, everywhere.
Yeah.
You have blown up. You have been incredibly successful. And one of my favorite things about your clothes is it's been repurposed.
Yes.
And that's one thing that's so important for me, for me, taking care of our environment, not throwing away, reusing, recycling.
It's huge.
Just giving back to the earth.
It is huge.
It's huge, and that's exactly what you do. So what is your process?
So everything is upcycled, everything's repurposed. I did buy a bunch of clothing. I used to go thrifting for my pieces, but
I love it.
Past that step now. So I bought like 5,000 pounds of clothes. Yeah, at the beginning of last year. I'm almost out.
You're kidding me.
I'm almost out of them.
You are kidding me.
So I need to put that on my to-do list. But so we cut through the fabric. I train refugee women that are living in Nashville. So they help me cut and they help me sew. And I'm just now able to give them full-time hours, which is huge for me and huge for them. But I'm responsible for their families. And that holds me accountable at work, but it's just awesome. So
I'm so proud of you. There's just really no way to say it. I'm incredibly proud
thank you.
of you.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, and you're so passionate about this.
Yes.
So tell us your passion. Where does that come from?
I don't know. Like I said, I was born to do it, and there have been people to tell me, that I'm crazy and like
crazy talented. No, look at this. It's so cool.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Like I know it. It's what I'm born to do. It is like my life's mission to spread sustainable fashion around the world. So.
And you're just beaming. Even when you're talking about it now, your face, you're beaming. So I know that it's actually brought you some joy.
Yes.
How has this?
Of
How's your
course.
art either healed you, helped you process through things, made you a better person?
So I used to think it was unhealthy because I do put my emotions into my work.
Yeah.
But if I'm angry, it just makes me work harder. Or like even if I have a breakup or a dispute with a family member or a friend, it just makes me work harder.
Wow.
Which makes me a little bit of a workaholic, but I now realize that is like the most healthiest way to cope with your emotions.
Yeah.
Because without all of that, then I definitely would not be here.
And I love
right
what you
now.
just said. I'm gonna jump on what you just said about you put your emotions into your work. The colors you use. Morgan, I know just by looking at your designs.
They're happy clothes.
They're such happy clothes. And I know you as a person separately of your clothes, and you are such a happy person. And so for me, it's such a visual way of how you're expressing who you are. Your identity is so transparent through your clothes. The fabrics, the colors, the designs, the way that they're put together. I see you all over the clothes as a person. And it's so interesting because your personality is bright and joyful. Like you can't but help smile when you're in the room with her, you guys. You can't but help smile and pick up on some of that, and that's exactly what your clothes do.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So it's really fascinating to me how you've been able to express your actual essence of a person in clothing. I mean, so many people think, you know, painting or poetry, but I'm literally seeing it in your clothes.
That's awesome.
It's really neat. It's really neat for me. It's really neat for me.
That's how I want the women to feel when they wear them.
Yeah, they do. I know. I'm always happy wearing these.
Yeah, I try to create designs that are flattering because, especially like going to fashion school and that dress form right there. We base all of our designs on that one dress form. And then I started making clothes for real women out in the world. And I mean, they have curves and they're short and they're tall and they're just all different.
Yeah.
So it's important to make clothes that make them feel good and flattering style lines and the colors and the mixing of prints and like all of it. Yeah.
And I think you're giving women a voice in their clothes, in their fashion. And I love fashion. For me, it is absolutely 100% a way to express yourself.
Absolutely.
So you're actually giving them a gift to be able to wear something happy and joyful, even just through the colors.
And the way that they style a piece, sometimes it'll blow my mind because I'm like, I never would have thought about pairing it like that together. But yeah, they're using it to express themselves.
And it's a gift you're giving them.
And it's not fashion, it is art.
Yeah.
These are wearable art pieces.
So throughout all of your experiences, art has been an incredible blessing to your life. But you mentioned this earlier, and I want to dig a little bit deeper on how you're using your art to change other people's lives.
Yes. So whenever I was doing all of the sewing and everything by myself, I was a one-woman show for a long time.
I don't know. Whew.
I loved it, don't get me wrong, but it was a lot of work. Like I said, a little bit of a workaholic. But I would get stories all the time. Customers would call me. Customers would send me emails. They would send me pictures. And they would just tell me like how my clothes changed their day. I have this one customer, Suzanne Flick, and I love her to death. And she has this one piece that she does call her happy dress. And she would FaceTime her grandson who was overseas in the Army. And she would wear her happy dress and like twirl around in front of the camera for him. I know. It just like little things like that. Or just the other day I had a customer post her outfit, got her through the day because she was having, Mother Nature issues or whatever. And then I have another customer that had breast cancer, and just my clothes are like the only ones that she's able to wear right now because they're comfortable and they're the size inclusive, and I know they just make them feel good about themselves or give them compliments, make them feel good, and then that gives them the confidence to do what they're supposed to be doing in their work or their life or whatever.
So you also mentioned earlier refugees, and so not only are you giving back to the environment and using these clothes as repurposed materials to start a brand new design, so creative, but you're giving back to humanity. Please tell me all the things about all the refugees' experiences.
Repurposing, as if that wasn't enough. God was like, got something else for you.
Got a surprise.
Yeah, here's some help. You've been asking for some help. Well, here's some help. Well, they're helping me, but we're also helping them tremendously. Right now I have 2 women that are working for me full time.
Where are they from? Refugees from?
They are from all over the world.
Okay.
These 2 specifically are from the Middle East.
Middle East, okay.
Their husbands helped the U.S. Army.
Okay.
So that is how they got privileged to come over here.
Gotcha, okay.
But they got pulled out of a war zone. to come over here, not knowing English, not knowing like how to use a Mac, what we talked about. And I mean, how are they supposed to find work?
I mean, that's got to be really challenging. So they come here, new country, new language, no real what we would call American job skills.
Yeah.
That's got to feel overwhelming. And then you run into them and provide them
Yes.
this work. Tell us
I was
about
connected with an organization in Nashville called Sew for Hope, and they teach these refugee ladies basic sewing knowledge, so people like me can go in and hire them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what I did. A couple of years ago, somebody suggested it to me when I was living in my one-bedroom apartment, and I was like, I just don't think now's the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got brought to my attention again, and I was like, you know what? I was like, that sounds really familiar. So I jumped in, and like I met with them that day, and then the next day they were working for me. And so I teach them how to cut the fabric and do the designs here, and then they'll take work and sew it at home.
Okay.
That way they can look over their kids and feed their families and everything. But I have definitely changed their lives. They're so happy, and I'm happy, and they're grateful, and they're hardworking. Like, I couldn't ask for better girls working for me.
That's incredible. So what you're telling me is you've made these women breadwinners for their entire families. They're able to feed their 6 kids because of your art.
Yes.
Your art has rescued them from poverty, their entire families, and given them purpose and given
and
even
hope
them
and
an outlet to express themselves artistically.
Yes. So every now and then I'll give them some freedom. I'll show them how I want it done, and then I'll be like, but you get to decide this or that or whatever. And I'll get the clothes back, and you can just tell that the girls had so much fun creating it, because designing and sewing is supposed to be fun. I worked for somebody else for a couple years when I was in college, and I was sewing for them, and then I was coming home and trying to sew for myself, and I was just getting worn out. I was like, this is not fun anymore.
Yeah.
But I eventually quit that and did this, so it all worked out.
So for them it's because they add their own artistic flair, you're keeping their jobs fun.
Yes.
So a full-time job, they're getting full-time hours, incredible money to feed their families, and having fun in the process, expressing their own artistic creativity in the process. You are changing entire families' futures.
Yes.
Because of your art.
I know.
That is incredible.
It's-
Yes. Y'all go buy her clothes so that she can hire more of
Yes.
these refugee women. I mean, literally changing the future of the entire family, the kids included.
The kids included.
Yeah, and that's
Especially,
key.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I know, just as your friend, is you're incredibly passionate also about human trafficking.
I don't know. I was raised very sheltered, not to the extreme, but to the point where I got to be an adult, and I learned about that, and I mean, my jaw just drops to the floor. Like, that's happening? There's no way that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking, and it's horrible.
And that's a passion we share, child trafficking in
Ooh.
particular. And I'm with you. It was hard for me to grasp at first, even that it's here in Nashville,
Right.
or here in America, or worse, here in the Bible Belt, where we're supposed to have high standards for how we treat others. And it's been heartbreaking. But I'm inspired. You've got some fun, creative ideas
Yes,
as how to give back to that. And that's
I've
a whole
always-
different genre as well.
It is. I've always been like passionate about it. Like, I want to help some way.
Yeah.
But growing my business, I'm like, it doesn't really make sense. If I gave back, it just doesn't go together. But you know what? It's my business. I can do whatever I want.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, why not?
Yes.
So I would love to have an auction.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think Christmas time it would be the best time. I think it needs to be like spring or summer.
Okay. So guys, stay tuned because we may
Yes.
have something like that coming up where you guys can actually bid or take part in supporting Morgan and the Morgan Factory and giving back to human trafficking,
Yes.
child trafficking,
We're
and
gonna make it
separately of
happen.
that, refugees.
Yes.
And saving the earth.
Yes. I know.
I love you so much.
I know.
Oh my gosh. You know, I'm sure, I'm certain you are inspiring a viewer right now. Somebody I know watching this wants to do what you do. What kind of advice would you give, let's say, a 12-year-old little girl like you, let's say,
Yeah.
what advice would you give her on how to start her journey?
Absolutely. So the best advice I can give to you is make whatever you want to make and don't care if somebody doesn't like it. Not everybody is gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody likes my clothes. When I would set up
So that shocks me because I'm just like, I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, and people can appreciate it and like it, but not wear it too. But I would go to these craft shows and I would get these older women walk by, you know, and I'd have holes in my patch pants or my bell bottoms or something. And they would like snarl their nose, and they didn't even know I made the clothes, which is a compliment. You know, but don't care if somebody doesn't like it, but care enough to just like critique yourself. You know, you can make something for everyone, you really can, but don't let that stop you or discourage you from keeping on going, you know.
So for all you young girls and guys out there who want to grow up and be a wildly successful designer like Morgan, keep going. Don't try to please everyone.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
If your heart and your soul's into it, then, you know, you're not doing it for them at that point until you can figure out how you can do it for other people. But do it for yourself first.
Such good advice. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Morgan.
Thank
You inspire me in so many ways. I'm so grateful that you took the time with us today. And all of you viewers out there, please follow her on all of the social medias. She posts a lot of clothing content, but other content as well. And her line is always growing, always changing. So there's always, I follow you, there's always a new cool thing that you're making. It never feels old. It's always fresh.
Yes.
And always fresh for the season. So there's plenty of reasons to jump in and come back and continually follow all the fun things that you're up to.
And this year, instead of focusing on wholesale to boutiques, I'm actually going to start offering wholesale to normal women.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, day made.
Yeah.
Pick me.
I am going to interview so that way I can keep up with the demands, and I want them to succeed. I don't want to just sell to everybody and anybody, you know, because your success is our success. But that is exciting.
That's huge.
I'm really excited about it.
That is huge.
So if you've lost your job to COVID or just need an extra $1,000 a month or whatever, and even if like you're a young teenager and somebody blesses you with the money to get started, I don't see why you can't just start up your own little side boutique. So I'm excited. It's gonna be awesome.
Guys, follow her. It's the Morgan Factory.
The Morgan Factory.
I follow you on all the socials, so it's easy to find her. And she posts her own face and her own fun poses. So that's what I love about you, because you get to see her clothes, but you get to see her interacting and her personality. I swear, you're going to fall in love with her, I promise. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Morgan.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And for the rest of you out there curious about getting involved with heArt Studios. So we will have a few events coming up here soon. Not only that, we will be still fundraising for our huge studio. The goal is to have 8 separate rooms of all different genres of art. So stay tuned in that as well. So meantime, have a lovely day.